Hello, this is Graham from Gramophones. Whenever you're restoring a portable gramophone, there are usually two areas on the case that will always need attention. The first are the feet, where these will either be usually a rubber foot that's either contained within a corner bracket or indeed just planted into a hole in the carcass of the gramophone. But if they're not worn down to nothing, they will have become hard and brittle over the years and need replacing. The second area that will need attention will inevitably be the handle. Now, with some of the commoner machines, such as the HMV 101 and 102, new handles are readily available from a number of suppliers on the internet. But occasionally you will come across machines where there's nothing left for it but to either repair the old handle or to make a new one. Machines that would fall into this category would be, for example, the HMV 100 and early HMV 101s, some of the Columbias and some of the Deccas. Now, I want to base this particular video on a Decca handle. It's the Decca handle that came on my recently acquired Decca Rally. Like my 120 and Decca 130, the handle is based upon a metal frame that has been covered with Rexine, with leather cloth. And I want to look at how that can be restored to hopefully as near new as possible. So let's have a look at that handle now. So here's the type of handle that we're going to be restoring. I say type because this one is actually a good example that's already on my Decca 120, but it's exactly the same as the handle that I'm going to be restoring for the Decca Rally. You'll see that it's fixed to the rings by a fold over part that is then riveted at each end. You can see the rivet on the left hand side just coming through the back of the handle. Our first job is to remove those rivets by squeezing the ends together and pulling them through. Once the handle is off, it quite readily separates into two halves. You can do this by just levering up one end of one half and the two will separate quite nicely, and you will find that the Rexine covering has just been folded over and into the hollow part of each half of the handle, and then as the two parts are pushed together it causes tension in the Rexine. But the first job to do is clean those parts up. Okay, so here we are. We've got the two parts of the handle now cleaned up and ready. I've also cut two pieces of black Rexine. This one measures overall 8 3/4 inches or 223 millimeters by 2.5 inches in width or 63 millimeters, and this is slightly smaller. This is 8 inches or 200 millimeters long, again by 2.5 inches or 63 millimeters. The shorter one is going to be the top. The longer one is going to go on the bottom part that includes these two little lugs that go around the handle rings. So let's get going. Now it looks to be a bit cumbersome, this. The first thing to do is to get that more or less central in the length, and then we fold over. Now at this point this really does feel cumbersome and awkward, and you can't believe how anything that is so creased and messy can possibly end up looking anything like, but trust me, it will. So I'm folding over and folding in the corners, and I just want to try and get it roughly into shape before I move on to the top piece. You know, that's more or less it. Bend this piece in, and that piece is. Use the tip of that ball pen just to press those into place, and there. Bringing those round just encouraging this rexine to take up some of the shape of the handle, tucking the corners. Yeah, now I'm going to leave that. It's still, it's quite rough and ready and quite creased still, but that will do for the moment. Now I'm going to move to what will be the top piece and do the same. I just want to kind of roughly get that into shape with the surplus and the width going into the centre. You can actually, this will behave itself a little bit more, just trying to stretch that out and fold in the ends. Get as much of that in there as you can. Just one, pull it round and bend it in down the ends. Okay, now again, rough and ready, but it's more or less in place. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to now fix this onto the case. So I'm going to close down and be back with you in a second. So here we go. What you can see is I've got the handle positioned with the two lugs around the rings and the bottom part with the rexine more or less in a rough position. What I'm now going to do is lifting that handle up, I'm going to centralise what will be the top part of the handle and press that into position. Now I've got a kitchen knife and I'm going to use that. The idea is just to keep playing with this and stretching it until we have a nicely fitting, smooth, all over handle. You can feel where it's loose, and just there is quite a loose section, and just press that rexine down into the handle. So I think we are more or less there. I don't know whether this is at the right angle. Let's have a look. That's not too bad. Just a little bit there. Probably I'm being finicky, but that will tighten up a bit more once I've got the rivets in here and here, which I will do separately. I have no rivets at the moment. I'm waiting for those to arrive. But you can see that is, well, you won't see that it's a vast improvement on the original one, except you will if you go and have a look at the original one that are on the photographs on the website at the moment under Decca Rally. But is it straightforward? It's more messy than anything else. You just have to keep working on it and pulling it and smoothing it out. But eventually you do get a good result that is far better than the mess it was in when I brought it the other day. Right, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. As usual, I hope you found it very useful, and maybe you'll come back and see me again some more sometime. Bye bye now.